Hey there guys, thought I'd take a little time today to show you something a little different. These are three little gadgets that I find myself using quite often. They're all very cheap, each of them costing less than $10, and they would make great gifts for anyone like me who likes the outdoors or finds themselves in a situation where they need some sort of miniature tool. So let's start off with this little guy right here. This is called a Gerber Shard, and you can pick these up off of Amazon.com's website for around $7.25. And it's a very handy little keychain multi-tool. It's got a lot of functions on it. As you can see, there's a small bend in it, and it's just kind of a very odd shape. But the beauty is in its simplicity. You almost can't break this thing. It's made out of either a lightweight steel alloy or something. I'm not really sure what, but it's coated in a black nitrile coating, and I really like this thing. I have it on my keychain all the time, and it saves me from breaking keys or putting my keys where they don't belong. But its basic idea is that it's a 6-function multi-tool, and I'm sure you could find more things to do with it if you got creative. But as you can see, you've got a lot of functional devices here, including the bend in it. But the idea here is you get a small flat-tipped screwdriver, a large flat-tipped screwdriver, and you obviously have a bottle opener right there. Now in between the two flat-tipped screwdrivers, you've got a little V-notch cut out, and that's for actually pulling nails and tacks and things of that nature. The pry bar also helps with prying other things, like if you have a staple, you can just slide this thing right underneath it and it comes out. You don't need to use your keys, it slides right under there. It's pretty awesome. The other cool little function on this thing that it doesn't look like it would really work that well, but it actually works beautifully, is right on this end is actually a Phillips head screwdriver. I really had my doubts on this thing working, but it fits down inside there so snug. It's amazing. I can't believe that it actually works as well as it does. But like I said, you just hang this thing on your keychain and take it with you wherever you go, because your keys are always with you, and you've got a nail puller, you've got a pry bar, you've got a bottle opener, you've got 2 screwdrivers, plus a Phillips head screwdriver, and anything else you can think of with this thing. It's a very, very awesome, handy, useful tool. It's, like I said, $7.26 on Amazon.com last I checked, and it is super handy, great present. Next up is probably my favorite of all the things. I use this obviously more than anything that I have. This is my folding lockback utility knife, and this is a Craftsman brand. But you should know that these particular types of knives are all branded different brands, but they're all produced by the same company, Sheffield. And you can tell by that little S right there. And there's a couple different varieties of these knives, the ways that the blades hook in. But I find this setup is actually the most reliable and easiest to use. The blades don't fall out, and I actually highly recommend you get Irwin blades, the bimetal blades. These blades are junk, and I tend to use my knife as a screwdriver if I don't have my Gerber Shard on me, and these blades will break right off if you try to do something like that. I've had these for years and years. I've lost a few of them. I've had a couple stolen from me, and it's exactly why I buy these knives. These knives from Sears cost you $7.99, and they come with a pack of blades. I've owned some pretty expensive knives. I still own some pretty expensive knives, and I do landscaping for a living, and I really don't like getting those knives stolen. People like to borrow them, then they walk off, and it really pisses you off when you lose a $70 knife for a reason like that. So if you lose an $8 knife, it's really not that big a deal. But I really like these because they're all aluminum chassis, steel where the knife chassis is. And like I said, you don't ever have to sharpen it. You just swap your blades out. If you're using Irwin blades, they last almost forever. The Irwin blades are quite a bit more expensive than the knife. This thing sits in my pocket really snug. I really like it. I can close it with one hand by squeezing the back of the handle, just like that, and open it with one hand pretty easily. So I've gotten really used to having this knife. You can get these in a variety of colors. I prefer the red because it's easy to see when you drop it. But very useful knife, very cheap. I don't feel bad letting people borrowing it, or if they steal it or lose it or whatever, I can always replace it for less than $10. The other great thing about it is it's a Craftsman brand name. Even though I said it was a Sheffield actual patent, Craftsman will still honor their hand tool warranty on this. So if you break this thing and bring it back to Sears, they'll hand you a new one. So last up here, but certainly not least, is my 7-watt, 300 lumen Cree LED flashlight. And you can pick these up off of Amazon.com. Last I checked, it was right around $6.88. This thing has a lot of cool features that I really like about it, and in a day now where everything's going LED and a lot of these LEDs that are coming out now are really gimmicky and crappy when you get them. This is not one of them. This is a incredibly tough little flashlight. It's not waterproof. You can see it's actually got a warning label on it because it is so bright. This doesn't have any of those gimmicky flashing settings or anything like that. It's just on, off. And not only that, but you can actually adjust the beam. And when I say adjust the beam, it's insane how much you can adjust this beam. I wish I could show you, but my camera won't pick this up at night. But this thing is unbelievably bright. And the fact that it runs on a single AA battery just is absolutely ridiculous to me. You get about, I would guess, 6 to 8 hours of ridiculously bright light out of one AA battery. So throw another AA in your pocket and you've got more light than you'll even know what to do with. It's got a belt clip on the back, but it's probably not as comfortable in the pocket as some things. The front, like I said, is adjustable. You can point it all the way down to a pencil point beam, and I can spot objects a quarter mile, half mile away from me with this beam. I'm not exaggerating. It is actually that good. When you have it all the way back into the flood position, you can turn this thing on, stand it up in a room when the power's out, and the entire room will be illuminated. It is unbelievable for a single AA to be able to make an LED this bright. Like I said, this thing is not waterproof, but it is very easy to care for. You can actually pop the lens right off the front and clean the inside of the lens or the LED, although I don't recommend touching the LED. But if you find yourself in a survival situation, you can take this lens and actually use it to start fires, because it's basically a magnifying glass. But it just screws on there, and like I said, there's no flash settings. It's just a super bright friggin' LED flashlight. I love this thing. I love it, love it, love it. And for $6.88, everyone should have one of these. I don't understand why these aren't more popular. But Cree LEDs, they are seriously one of the best LED manufacturers I have ever seen. I never leave home at night without this thing, and it just always impresses people when I pull this little flashlight out, and I can outbeam 8 D-cell mag lights no problem with this thing. So there you have it. Those 3 items are by far the most handy little gadgets that I've ever owned. I've owned each one of these for well over a year, and I find new uses for them every day. They are just fantastic tools, phenomenal. They would make great gifts for the holidays, birthdays, anything like that. Each of these is less than $10. So for less than $30, you got these 3 items. You can't go wrong. So thanks for watching my video. Rate it if you liked it. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.